Hi, everybody. Welcome to this event. Also, welcome. This is my home base, my new one. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone has seen it since I've moved. There are boxes everywhere. They'll probably be there for the next 6 months because it takes me approximately 9 months to move into an apartment, and that is on depression. But anyway, that's not what this is about. This is previewing ISE 2025. I absolutely cannot wait to get to Barcelona. I cannot wait for this show. Rumor has it that this show is going to be bigger than any ISE I have ever seen. Let's not forget, people, my first ISE was in Amsterdam in 2020. So while COVID had not quite reared its ugly head all over the world yet, it was an odd year because I do think people were scared and a lot of people did not attend the show because of that. So this is kind of like the year that I am seeing ISE full force because we have opened up all of the halls in the convention center. That I'm going to see, we're going to utilize Hall 1 and Hall 8 this year. So this is going to be the biggest one that I and probably some of you have ever seen. So I absolutely cannot wait. And we have some great guests today that we're speaking to just about what they can expect at the show, what they're doing at the show, just to kind of help you guys, if you're coming, map out your time because there is absolutely no way you can see everything in all 8 halls. I won't be able to do that. That's what our coverage is for. So if you're coming, this is going to help you kind of map out your time. If you're not coming, this is going to kind of help you prep for what coverage you can expect from the rAVe team. So yeah, we have some great guests lined up for you today. And as always, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer or ask any of our guests, you can do that by utilizing this space to my right. That will get that directly to me so I can take a look at that question and answer it. We have some poll questions today that will show up below my talking head. So just answer those when you see them. That actually helps us plan in future events for which pieces and parts of content you particularly are connecting with. As you can see, we are utilizing the networking chat. If you scroll a little bit down, you can message everyone who is online today. You can direct message people. You can direct message me if you so please. And then continue down and you will see all of the information about our guests today. And you can connect with them on LinkedIn by clicking their names. So yeah, we're so excited. Cannot wait for ISE February 4th through February 7th. And you know who's going to be there? Bob Snyder. Everybody knows Bob Snyder. He is so well known in the EMEA community. And so I'm going to bring him on and I'm going to talk to him because he wrote an article for rAVe PUBS. I'm going to see if we can link that in the chat, all about how this ISE is going to be completely different from years past. And I wanted to pick his brain about that. Like, what do you mean? What's going to be different? So let's bring him on. Hi, everyone. Very excited for this next session for, previewing ISE 2025. I am joined by Bob Snyder. Hi, Bob. How's it going? How was CES?
Hi, Steph. Glad to be here. Well, CES was overwhelming again. A giant tech show covering all aspects all across Las Vegas. Very exciting, but also, heralding the new year. Bringing in all the tech stuff that we're going to be talking about in 2025.
Exactly. It's kind of crazy that CES and ISE are so close together and those shows are so important. So, first of all, as a seasoned ISE attendee, you have been to so many of them. What are you most looking forward to at this year's show?
Well, the interesting thing about ISE, is that it's such a good community. CS feels like a giant metropolitan, environment, while ISE is big and yet feels like a small town.
Yeah.
And I think that, is a compliment to the industry and to the way that we conduct ourselves in that industry. It's really got a nice feeling, ISE, and CS. The tech is there. You're overwhelmed, but you don't have the same, type of impact, Uh, at least from my side. ISE is like going home, and CS is like going to somebody else's party.
That makes a lot of sense. So in terms of the technology, what kind of trends do you expect to really stand out at ISE at this year's show?
Well, ISE is a concatenation of all these different industries together, and each industry has its sparkling jewels to show and to bring. And the overwhelming thing when I give tours to VIPs at ISE for the show
Mhm.
itself, and when I give the tour, I'm just so you know uh, impressed, myself with the the stunning quality of the display industry. It's just in your face. It's just overwhelming. It's just immersive. And all the visitors, you can see them just knocked off their feet as they go down the main aisle. And it's like taking someone from some small town and bringing them into Times Square for the first time. They go, I didn't know you could have that big a screen with that much resolution. Powerful.
Yeah. So you wrote an article recently that I posted on rAVe Pubs, and you were talking about how
Mhm.
this ISE is going to be a lot different than, shows of the past. Are there
Mhm.
any particular shifts within the industry that you think are going to be reflected at ISE this year?
Yeah, it's a changing game, and what we're facing. We're on the brink of AI. AI is going to be everywhere, but some of it's false AI, and some of it's real AI, and some of it's just the promise of AI to come. But AI will change most aspects of the business, and we'll be starting to come to grips with it for the first time. So that's one thing, but in terms of the ISE itself, we've mostly in our sectors have gravitated towards embracing immersive experience, and we are just like a hound dog on a trail. We're tracking down that immersive experience, and we're bringing it live to people. And
Mhm.
so many different aspects of the business, whether it's audio, video, just the sort of projection. We are, and including, of course, unified communications and remote work. We're bringing that immersive experience to the world, and it's a very strong card to have as a show. Um, it's very powerful. So this changes in the ISE this year. You have to look at the fact that ISE, moved to Barcelona in the middle of the pandemic,
Yeah.
and it took a step back. It was too big for Amsterdam, and then suddenly the pandemic, it was too small for the venues that it wanted to have in Barcelona. And it's come back very strongly over the next couple of years, but we're on the brink of that last comeback where
Mhm.
suddenly it's going to be as strong as it was before the pandemic time. And ISE has prepared certain shifts, which I think are significant. One is opening up the north access. It's if you've been working the show, you may know how frustrating it is to have just that lopsided entrance. And by opening up the north access, they open up to the audio demo rooms, they open up Hall 8. That side of the show is going to get much more attention. And ISE this year has done something very clever. They're introducing a startup park. Now,
Mhm.
every big tech show in Europe is launching a startup park, but the fact that ISE is going to have one is going to bring a lot of innovation and a lot of new stuff, to the industry. If you go to a show like CES, you see companies that are launching product. They're launching product that fit our industry, but they don't even know the ISE. They're startups, and they don't. Sometimes they come from areas where they don't know what industry they're a part of. They're a startup. And once these people recognize that ISE is the home to this stuff, I
Mhm.
think we're going to get a lot more innovation in ISE than historically.
Those are really good points, actually. I don't know that I've thought entirely about what that startup area could bring to the industry, not only what it brings to ISE, but it is really exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those companies and potentially seeing some of that excitement of, companies realizing, oh, like this is what that industry is. Um, so, since you have attended ISE for years, because my first ISE was 2020, very much not a normal year.
No,
How
not
do
at
you
all.
feel that the show has evolved, COVID aside? And what do you think has changed for the better? And where do you still see some room for growth?
Well, the ISE is a uh, just a juggernaut. It's a show that started off with us in audio video and is just rolled on collecting industries that use our audio video technologies and didn't have a home.
Yeah.
So the evolution of ISE, the amazing part is, the name of the show is Integrated Systems, and we've been able to integrate a lot of industries that are aligned but not concentric, and that's a pretty clever thing for a show to do. So the show has evolved by adding on, for example, I think we're very strong in live events. I think we're very strong now. We're pursuing content in the sense of IBC type of professional content. We've expanded the residential home, so we're at a peak. We're probably the largest collection of that, in the European theater. We're annexing all these related technologies that will drive the show forward.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, Bob, thank you so much for your time. The last thing I wanted to ask you was, where can people find you on the internet if they want to connect or read what you write or learn more?
Well, they can find me on rAVe Publications underneath the rAVe EMEA, and they'll find my columns there, which I'm covering some of the most important, trends. I try to concentrate on the things that are shifting the landscape, and
Mhm.
I think they'll find some very interesting material there. And otherwise, they can find me leading tours on the halls of ISE.
Perfect. All right. Well, I can't wait to see you there, Bob. Good talking to you.
Thank you very much, Steph. Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. See ya.
Bye bye.
All right, next up, Gary actually is going to speak with Mike Blackman. You guys might know him. He's the managing director of Integrated Systems Events, and they talk about a little bit about what's going to be different at ISE this year and what we can expect. So let's bring on Gary and Mike.
Hey everyone, this is Gary Kayye, and welcome to another pre-ISE edition of my Rants and Raves videocast. Plus, we're going to use this as a preview to ISE 2025 because I'm joined with the god of ISE, and that is Mike Blackman.
Wow, what a title.
Managing director of the show. Listen, Mike is humble, and I will tell you, he will not tell you this, but this is the truth. Mike is one of the biggest reasons why this show is so big and so successful. I'm excited to be joined with you, Mike.
Gary, thank you. It's funny. I was thinking back. Our relationship goes back to day one.
It does.
ISE, yep. And you involved, and I remember in 2005 in Amsterdam.
Yep.
You bringing Bob Schneider on. Well,
yep.
I introduced you to Bob Schneider.
Yep.
And the two of you then started rAVe Europe, and
we did
this whole thing as well. So, wow, it goes back.
It does. It does. And let me tell you, ISE's gone from a European show to the global mega show for AV. It is not a European show. It has attracted people from North America, from Australia, from Asia, from the Middle East. It is the global phenomenon. And what's unique about ISE is it has a home AV show and a commercial AV show and a UC show and a digital signage show and a live event show, and it keeps growing.
I mean, basically, we cover all aspects of professional AV solutions in both residential and commercial. It's grown because I think we do what the industry wants. But, talking about global, we have attendees from more than 170 different countries. So
Wow.
it's really, really phenomenal. And, exhibitors from all over the world. I think we represent everything in AV. I hope we do. We're seeing a lot more. The difference now is the growth in the software side of the business as well. We're seeing
Yeah.
AI solutions, and a lot more software companies new to the market coming in there as well, and lots of new things that are different for the show.
Yeah, and the cloud has seeped in there as well, and we have more centralized management and NDI, and it's really exciting. So here's the thing: we obviously drive a lot of people to the show. We're a big fan of the show. We cover the show for those that can't come to the show. And I think we do a great job covering all the booths, right? We go to every single booth and shoot videos on all the new products. And you can see all those at ravepubs.com/ISE after the show starts, unless you want to see last year's. But what we have a hard time covering, Mike, is what I want to talk about today. And that's all the events around the show that are not happening on the show floor. Like the keynote event, we write an article about it, but we can't show the whole video, obviously, because it's IP. But also you do a bunch of other special events. So if I were to go, if I were in your shoes, imagine I'm Mike Blackman, but I'm not the managing director. If you were yourself, but not the managing director, what would be the events that you would attend in addition to walking the show floor?
Well, I mean, let's start with the fact about all these events that go around the show. When we started ISE, one of the things I said was that we have to make it not just an exhibition, but an event. And that means a lot of things going on around, being run by other companies, by exhibitors, by the city, et cetera, et cetera. And we've achieved that here. And ISE kicks off on the weekend with projection mapping on the Casa Batlló. We started 4 years ago with them, with Rafik Anadol, then with Sofia Crespo, and this year we're introducing David Crayola, who's a digital artist, and he's going to be doing the mapping on Saturday and Sunday. So if you want to go and see it, get there early. Paseo de Gracia gets packed with about 80,000 people watching that mapping event,
including myself. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, it's really something. And this is we've entered into agreement with Casa Batlló to introduce a new artist every year, and that's continuing. What else do we have? We have there's quite a lot of exhibitor events going on throughout the show. And if you are being invited by an exhibitor, talk to them, make sure they invite you to their special events. We ourselves, offsite, we organize tech tours. And this is where Barcelona has really come into itself. We struggled in Amsterdam to get enough tech tours. Here we've got so many. Casa Batlló, this year we've got a health installation, being the San Juan de Déu Hospital. Phenomenal what they're doing, how they're using AV. We've got a couple of immersive experiences with the Alpha 5 installation, which is a interactive game playing immersive experience. We've got we've got a TV studio visits. Go to the ISE website, www.iseurope.org. Go to the content page, and you see a whole list of all the tech tours. See if there are any still available. Most get booked out pretty quickly. They're very popular.
But you also have you always have amazing keynote speakers as well. I mean, that is a thing I think you have really mastered.
Yeah, we try to. I always look and get my team to work on to say, who would you listen to that's relevant for our industry, and we go through this process and come up with names. And hello,
yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, come up with names and various different people. This year we've got Brian Solis. Now he's a consultant and specialist in AI, talking with companies about digital transformation. We said AI was a hot topic last year. It's still a hot topic. Everyone's still asking about it, and we felt we need to go deeper and actually, the questions are: is it going to be a benefit or is it going to be a danger? Here are ways to listen and address some of those points for everybody. We've got David Crayola coming also to do a keynote, talk about how he creates his art. So those are the keynotes. We've got a whole mass of content presentations covering, the verticals, as well as you can actually. So we've got a digital signage conference, we've got a smart building conference, the usual ones. But now you can actually look and say, well, actually, because the thoughts were, should we do a conference on AI? But it's ridiculous when it covers everything.
Yeah.
So, and we've got AI being covered in almost every topic. So now you can choose, if that's your specialist area, to actually choose AI in smart building, AI in digital signage, et cetera, there as well, amongst other things. What else do we have? We have a couple of big features this year. We've got the connected classroom. So working together with several manufacturers, we've created a classroom of the future. To show how higher education can embrace AV. And we've created a showcase in Hall 2 to show what could be done with demonstrations, etc. And it's attracting a lot of people of interest, in educational authorities, etc., coming to see that. We have the live events stage. Live events has just grown in ISE in the last 2 years. So we put a stage up in Hall 7 to actually show what can be done there as well. We have the outdoor stage as well to show how you can use outdoor sound, use audio outdoor. What else we got? We've got a huge esports arena. And there
I'm excited about that. Obviously, I was part of the first esports setup that Infocom did a couple of years ago, and I'm excited to see you bring it to Europe. It's different. Esports in Europe is very different, but I'm glad that you're doing this because you're a global show. And when I first thought about esports and started talking to manufacturers about it, they were like, well, esports isn't that big in Europe because we don't have it as a college sports kind of thing. But you're a global show. I mean, esports does exist in Europe, and you're serving the rest of the world too.
Not only that, but you've also got a lot of the professional teams, like FC Barcelona have an esports team. So what you're going to have is a conference that's taking place in this arena, talking about the business angles and the business part of esports. But we're mixing that also with putting on live events in there. So with professional teams. So again, a whole program there that's being curated by companies who professionally produce esports events and broadcast. What else have we got in there? We've got our live our pro audio demo area in Hall 80. 15 audio demo rooms with major manufacturers showing how they do that as well. So if you want to get into the esports, if you want to get into the pro audio demo areas, etc., and really fast track, go to the north entrance in Hall 8. Then
that's how I usually enter because there's less people going in that direction.
It's a shame that people don't discover this, but there are less people going in there. It's still picking up, but if you're going to that area, you don't have to walk through the rest of the building before you get there. So that's the other advantage. But generally, if you want to get into the middle of the show faster, I would use that entrance.
Yeah, and by the way, kudos to you for all the work and the relationship building you've done with Barcelona. We get free train service if you're part of the show, so that's nice. You don't have to worry about buying tickets to get there. It's easy to get downtown. I mean,
absolutely. That ticket is valid for 5 days from the day you get it. And basically, you can pick it up at the airport now. So when you land, look in the baggage area. Just where you're picking up your bags, there should be a desk, and that's where you can get now. You need to print your badge beforehand to be able to do that. You need to show you're a valid ISE attendee. So before you get on the plane, print your badge, show it to them there, and you can get your ticket and jump on the metro straight away.
All right, that's that right there. That one piece of advice was worth people watching this. I can guarantee you that. Mike, again, congratulations. I'm looking forward to seeing you. It's been a while since I saw you. I think Infocom was the last time I saw you in person. Again, congratulations. Big shout out to your entire team. I appreciate the holiday card with your entire team on it that I received this year. I look forward to seeing you. And by the way, I am reading this right now. I don't know if you had a chance to read this yet. But
You
Michio Kaku, who was a keynote speaker at your show about 10 years ago, he
Yeah.
came out with a new book called Quantum Supremacy. It is phenomenal. It's as good as
Really?
Physics.
Should we get him back?
You should get him back. I mean, I think this is even more important than Physics of the Future. So maybe that could be your 2026 keynote speaker, or maybe you could use them for your digital science event you do each summer, which we will talk about a little bit later. But Mike, we will see you at the show. If for some reason you haven't registered for the show, go to iseurope.org and you can use our code rAVePubs and get free entry into the show. And you just heard the North Hall is the quickest way to get in, the north side, I should say. But Mike, thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Gary.
Next up, I'm going to ruin the movie magic a little bit. I spoke to Ray Kent actually yesterday, and he is a board member at SAVE, which is a really great organization that's pioneering these really fantastic efforts to help sustainability in the AV industry. And I talked to him a little bit about what the organization is going to be doing at ISE. I think this is their second time partnering with ISE. And so they're going to host a workshop to become SAVE certified. They're hosting all types of stuff. So if this is something you're interested in, ISE is actually a really great place to get face time with SAVE's members. So check out this interview. Hi, everyone. For this session in previewing ISE 2025, I am joined by Ray Kent, who is a board member for SAVE. Hi, Ray. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. So I'm really excited about how much I've seen SAVE grow in the past few years. So for those who are watching and might not know, tell me a little bit about what SAVE is.
So SAVE is an independent nonprofit organization founded by Christina DeBono and Joe Perez and a few others to address what we consider an urgent need within the audiovisual industry and the technology sphere in general, which is the rise of e-waste and how our industry in of itself has an impact on that. And so in looking around at what things have been available, are available, there was a growing desire to jump in and take this head on. And in looking at the United Nations and the Sustainable Development Goals, how could we tie that together?
Yeah. So how do you see sustainability evolving within the AV industry? Because I know that, when you guys really started this initiative, we were not in a great spot. And I like
Sure.
to think it's slowly getting better as people are becoming more aware so they can start making the changes that are necessary.
Sure. Well, as you know, I've had a long history in sustainability and technology, going back almost 20 years. But SAVE in and of itself, being an independent organization, I think really has brought a spotlight, a lens onto this issue in a way that other efforts really have not been able to. So it certainly is something that we are seeing as becoming more and more critical, particularly, for example, as we saw the chip shortage during the COVID lockdown, causing all kinds of issues. The rise of e-waste, other hotspots and other materials that are in short supply, such as silica and cobalt and things like that, or materials that are found in hotspots that are rife with conflict. And as we see technology continuing to grow in its immersive way within our everyday lives, this really has become something that's front and center. And as we are experiencing out in California with the fires right now, I think that's just a great example of how climate change is there. And anything that we do within this industry, if you look at the hundreds of thousands of products that are within this industry, that type of climate really needs to have a better focus on it. And I think that's starting to move that direction.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about SAVE's plans at ISE, because you guys have done really great work in partnering with ISE, which is kind of the perfect place to get even more eyes on your organization and everything you guys are doing. So yeah, tell me a little bit about your plans at the show.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to have a booth, which is great. It's going to be in Congress Square, and we're at booth CS 240. So hopefully people come by and they can find out more about the organization. So we'll be there Tuesday through Friday, and the booth will be staffed. So with other SAVE board members and SAVE ambassadors and other folks involved in the organization. So please come on by and check that out. In addition to that, we have a couple presentations. One that Christina DeBono is going to be involved with, as well as a few other board members. We have a SAVE panel that's going to really talk more about this. And then we have a European Latin American panel that we have folks, Cristiano Mazza is going to be involved with. So really making sure that we're looking at this globally and not just what we do here in the States. Additionally, we have a SAVE certification program that's happening on Thursday, February 6th. That's an all-day thing, and people can sign up for that. That will take you through the process of becoming SAVE certified, so you can learn more about what we're doing and how you and your organization can contribute to the efforts that we're doing, as well as the industry. Last, we are involved in the ISE's hackathon. I myself am one of the advisors for the ISE hackathon, which sustainability is a key component of that. And on Friday of ISE, we'll be whittling this down to the top 5 teams, and then we will be judging which team has the best solution and awarding them a prize. So we have lots of things that we're doing, and of course, working with partner organizations like Shore and Crestron and many, many, many others that have reached out to us or we've been in contact with that have a keen interest in and an ethos around sustainability, doing other things with them as well.
That's awesome. So in terms of what you are hoping to see at the show, what are you hoping in terms of seeing maybe some sustainability initiatives or innovations from different companies that are going to be there?
Well, I think it's going to be really great because certainly with some of the partner organizations that we are involved with, we know we will see some of the things that they're doing that look at how things get packaged, how things get shipped, where raw materials are sourced, how components go together, that really focus the lens on sustainability and in a 360-degree life cycle way. That and I think we're going to continue to see that grow and evolve, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some that we maybe haven't reached out to yet that are going to be interested to have something unique to share about their approach to it that we can learn from and help share the information about.
And are there any specific companies? I mean, you mentioned that the companies that SAVE partners with, are there companies and products that you're looking forward to seeing on the show floor that are particularly sustainable?
Well, certainly within the UC sphere, we've seen a lot of move in that direction. But in terms of video walls, there are some products that I am aware of from Panasonic and Absent, for example, that are about 40% less in energy use than a traditional video wall. So I know they're going to be debuting some new products there, and I'm really interested in seeing that. Certainly on the live performing arts side, as you know, that's one of my passions. I'm looking to see what's going on in that world. Particularly as we are looking at more and more sophisticated shows using AR, VR, and video walls and all sorts of other things. How do we do that in a more responsible way? So those are things that I'm going to be keeping an eye out on.
Yeah, same for sure. And I did want to ask you, what's a message that you would like to share with the AV industry, with the people watching, about sustainability as we head into ISE 2025 to just kind of set that tone for a great year so that we can start making more responsible decisions?
Sure. I think, sustainability, regardless of where politics lie, it impacts everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And there is a good business case for it. And that's often one of the things that I hear is, how's this going to impact what I do? How are we going to make profitability and, you know, targets and everything else? And I think if you really rethink the problem and reframe the problem, you'll come up with some really great solutions to it that really do help with the challenges that we're seeing with sustainability, and certainly looking towards the United Nations again and the Sustainable Development Goals as a roadmap, if you will, and certainly like the design guidelines that SAVE has recently put out and published are a way to get there. And certainly I know Avixa is doing some things, you know, as well. And so I see a lot of partnerships and convergence that is happening, and it's not something we can ignore any longer. You know, we've already exceeded our 1.5 degree target, and this is going to continue to be exacerbated. And so anything that this industry can do to help mitigate, you know, the changes that we're seeing, I think is only going to benefit everybody, you know, because as I said earlier, technology is so pervasive in everybody's lives that, you know, especially with AI and everything's going to have a chip, just like we saw with the rise of the Internet of Things, we're just going to see more and more integration of technology into our world, and things that we do today are going to have profound impact in how we live tomorrow. And so if you really think about how even the little things that you do can have great impact, it's sort of like the butterfly effect, you know, flap of the wings of the butterfly can change mountains. So that's really what I hope people take into ISE, is they think about their world and about the things that they do and the things that they interact with in a more holistic way from a 360 degree lens, and how every little decision they make can impact their lives and others as well. So that's what I hope people take away.
And I have a last question for you, Ray, and it is a very easy one. Where can people find more information about SAVE?
Sure. They can go to our website, which is saveav.org, to find out a lot more information. And we'll certainly have our schedule posted up there for everything we have going on with ISE, as well as upcoming events. Certainly what we're going to be doing at InfoComm this year, and a lot of the great programming we have. As you know, for example, our Save a Second Life program that we have, where people can actually send gently used equipment that we help find a new home for. So, or help them find a responsible way to recycle. So.
Awesome. Well, Ray, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, and I can't wait to see you at the show.
Yeah, take care. Good to see you.
Bye. Okay, for the next interview, Gary is going to talk to Robert Lingley of CandioVision, but who is also here talking about what PSNI is doing at ISE and everything that is going to happen at their booth. So let's bring that up next.
All right, here we are now joined with Robert Lingley, who is with CandioVision. Did I pronounce that right, Robert?
Close enough. Yeah, why not? You know, that's fine.
An AV integration firm based in the UK. You know, although ISE promotes themselves as a global show, let's be honest, the great majority of the people who attend are from the EMEA, and a huge contingency from the UK. So I know that you must look forward to the show every year.
Massively. I think it's really the beginning of the year. It kicks everything off. It's the chance to reconnect with a lot of our international partners, and it's the chance to see a lot of the new tech and discover really how the mood of the industry is feeling for the year ahead.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it, because I feel like we're going to see a lot of new technology, and there's going to be a lot of talk around the show with regard to the upcoming tariffs, which you know, have been driven a lot by our incoming president, but we're now starting to hear other countries around the world saying the same thing. So I think there's going to be a bigger focus, I think, on companies like a company like Barca, who is primarily based in Europe, and Alphalite, a company that's making LEDs in Italy or in Spain. And of course, you know, you've got Logitech and Spinetics that are European-based companies. I think that this will be a year that could really benefit European-based companies, kind of breaking out of breaking out of just kind of hanging out at the show and becoming noticed. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's somewhat fair. I think we're seeing from a client perspective, there is a terrific concentration of end users who actually are North American centric. So they're driven a lot of the time from a head office in the North American space. So a lot of the technology they're deploying in Europe actually comes from a specification driven by the US. So I think we've always had that. But I do think some of those European vendors that you mentioned, especially when you're in the maybe slightly more niche or slightly more specialist, we're talking about audio, maybe it's someone like Sennheiser or Shure, who are really going to bring some new technology and really kind of break out in a big way, even more so than they already are.
Well, you have a booth at 2W400, so people want to come by and see what you do, and obviously you're part of the PS&I Global Alliance.
That's right. So that's the PS&I booth, and it's a terrific asset, I think, to have at the show, because really it's a meeting place, and it's a meeting place both for the partners, the alliance members of PS&I, which are integration companies throughout the world, and the partnership with manufacturers throughout the world to deliver on a global scale. But it's a meeting place where actually an end user or someone who's interested in the tech, they can come along, you get a little demo of how the PS&I deployment and service process works. You'll meet a bunch of people who are really enthusiastic on the stand. And it's not really technology first necessarily. It's really about engaging with people and understanding the narrative behind how people want to communicate, how they want to deploy projects. And it's always a terrific place to be.
Is one of the, do you bring a lot of end users to the show to walk them around, to understand the technology and try to put it in the context of how it would be used?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's two parts to it really with the end users. Each of the integration CSPs, they're called for PS&I, they're going to bring some of their existing clients or some prospective clients, and they're going to do two things. They're going to show them the technology. They're going to be able to give them that comparison between the different brands, the different manufacturers, really quite elegantly. They're going to be able to walk them around the space and say, well, this is your display, this is your audio, this is your camera system, etc. But also, the majority of the time, they're going to be able to introduce them to other CSPs, because it's likely that they're part of a global deployment. They're not just doing an office space or a presentation space or a stadium or a shopping center in one location. They're probably doing it in 3, 4, 5, 20 different countries around the world, and they can introduce them to all the people who are going to be involved to deliver that.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that is one of the advantages of what PS&I provides, is you have that alliance of consistency and support from all the different integrators around the world. If you want to learn more about Candeo Vision, go to Candeo, Candeo vision.co.uk. Okay, that's how you get to their page. If you're in the UK, you should definitely check them out. If you haven't already have a relationship with an integrator, or maybe you're not happy with what you're doing now, they're part of the PS&I Global Alliance, was at psni.org. And of course, Robert, I appreciate you joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you on the show floor. We're actually going to do an end user only tour. We're going to do a live end user tour of the show floor, walk end users around the whole show floor. And I'm very excited about that. It's the first year we've done that. So I think that, there's going to be more and more end users coming to these shows. I think they see the value in these. So I think you being actively involved in the shows is a great benefit. So I appreciate you joining me today.
Pleasure. Thank you for taking the time.
On to the next.
Okay, everyone, that is about what we have for you. I know that is like barely anything and barely scratching the surface of what's going to be at ISE, but I don't know how to put that into an hour. So I hope you have enjoyed that. And make sure to go to ravepubs.com/ISE. We're starting to put together a lot of our pre-show coverage, and we're collecting all of those pre-show press releases and news stories and putting those there. And you can watch last year's product videos there and check those out. We're planning on having even more of those this year, if you can believe that or not. So can't wait for the show. I hope to see you guys there. If you do go and register for the show, we'll drop that link here as well. If you use code rAVEPUBS, you can get free entry onto the show floor. So then you just can come to Barcelona for the low price of a hotel and also a flight. So probably not a low price at all, but that is on you. And I hope to see you all there. And even if you don't, we will have so much coverage that it will feel like you're there in Barcelona with us. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for spending your afternoon with me. And we will see you next time. Bye, guys.